From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on November 17th, 2025, from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. I want to let you guys know right now from the jump that this is episode 666. I was planning to skip this like the 13th floor, but AT informs me that it's too late. So here's just a little more treats for this Mercury retrograde we're going through, so be careful. If you don't want to listen to this episode, you get a free pass. But on this episode of The Lead, we preview some of the legislative meetings happening this week, including the screening of judicial candidates and a hearing on what would be the most restrictive abortion law if passed. We hear from Senator Lindsey Graham on the shutdown ending, the looming healthcare debate, and potential conflict in Venezuela, as well as what he wants to see in Governor Henry McMaster's successor. We have a first congressional district update for you, and Scout Motors chooses Charlotte for its corporate headquarters, and not everyone is happy about that. If you're not happy, give us a shout, 803-563-7169. The days are dark and cold, so if you're like me, you're nesting inside, it's wearing on you, we're eating a lot of bread. If you need me to send you some bread, 803-563-7169. What are you doing? What's changed in your world during this winter of discontent? Content? You tell me. 803-563-7169. All right, let's look at what's on tap this week in the State House. The Judicial Merit Selection Commission is meeting throughout this week as it vets candidates for judgeships. We'll have more on that in a moment. And there are two Senate Medical Affairs Subcommittee meetings on Tuesday. One involving S343, that's dealing with informed consent for the administration of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. And the other, S323, the from conception abortion ban that would also be the most restrictive law in the nation if passed. There will be no testimony heard on that bill. It's already been done. It will be a markup meeting based on prior testimony. Up in Congress, the House and Senate are in this week. They're working. I know I just mentioned the JMSC hearings that are happening this week, and there is a competitive race for incumbent Justice John Cannon Few's seat at the state Supreme Court. Few is the senior justice following Chief Justice John Kittredge on the High Court. Few's 10-year term expires in July, and three other well-known people are gunning for it, including Administrative Law Court Judge Ralph King Anderson, former House Speaker Jay Lucas, and Appeals Court Judge Blake Hewitt. Now, it's rare for a state Supreme Court justice to draw challengers, but you may remember that Few was one of the 3 of the 5 justices who voted to overturn the 2021 abortion ban law in a 2023 ruling. When lawmakers revisited the law and passed a new one that year, it stood up to judicial scrutiny, with Few voting with 3 other justices in a 4-1 vote. Now, Few is 62, and if reelected by House and Senate lawmakers next year, he would be able to serve for another decade before retiring at the mandatory retirement age. Few previously served as the Chief Judge of the Court of Appeals. Now, these hearings were taking place on Monday, so I wanted to mention this, but to do it justice, emphasis added. We'll have a deep dive on Saturday's pod involving this race and some others, so you guys know what's going on, what people are talking about, and how that race is shaping up. Also, revisiting the open portion of the show, that Senate Medical Affairs Subcommittee will be working on amendments to S323, a bill that, if passed into law, would do, among other things, jail women who get abortions, outlaw IUDs, and restrict IVF treatments. It does not allow for exceptions for rape and incest, and only allows an abortion if a woman's life is at risk. This would be the most restrictive law in the nation, and while it will likely move out of the subcommittee, its path forward is very uncertain. Polling shows such restrictions are not popular with Republicans and Democrats. Currently, South Carolina has a 6-week ban, with exceptions for rape and incest up to 12 weeks. Again, it will likely make it out of the subcommittee and go to the full Senate Medical Affairs Committee. But again, it's unclear if it even gets out of there. And if it were to do so and be put on the Senate calendar, Democrats would block it, so doubtful it will go anywhere really next year in the final year of that 2-year session. But here's a promise. We'll keep you updated. Moving on, the federal government shutdown is over, and things are slowly returning to some normalcy in Congress. The skies are lousy with planes, airports are returning to full capacity, federal employees are receiving their back pay, and SNAP benefits are being paid out to those 560,000 South Carolinians who rely on them. Senator Lindsey Graham was in Columbia late last week, where he spoke with members of the press on a wide range of topics, including reforming the healthcare system following the shutdown standoff over the Affordable Care Act subsidies, and also those increasing premiums. But first, he apologized for the shutdown.
I am sorry that we failed you. And let's just be honest, the Republicans shut down the government for 35 days years ago to get Democrats to build a wall. Well, we eventually built the wall. It was good policy. But what I've learned from this experience, if you got a policy debate, don't shut down the government to get an outcome. That's not a good way to legislate. There's no end to that. It's kind of political terrorism. And I would tell those folks, hopefully by tonight, the government will be up and running. And what I'm going to try to tell these people and everybody else in our state, that one way to prevent this in the future is for us to lose our pay. I cannot tell you how many conversations that go on behind closed doors about giving the money away, not getting paid. It's one thing to defer payment. Every government worker is going to get reimbursed. I don't think we should. We're the ones that caused this, not anybody working for the government. We can't muster the votes to keep the government funded, then both parties who are involved in this should not get paid ever. You should forfeit pay.
Here's what he proposes for reforming the healthcare system, which, as we know, is incredibly difficult to do if you live through the Obamacare debate.
Okay, I think it's going to be a debate worthy of a great nation. Republicans get criticized sometimes, rightly so, for complaining about healthcare, not having an alternative. We're going to give you an alternative. We're going to take the $35 to $50 billion that would go to insurance companies and try to allocate it in a way to help individuals more effectively, lower health care costs, and get better outcomes. That's going to be a good debate. Already you see some Democrats reaching out to some of our health care folks, senators who are really conversant in this, thinking about how to redirect the money. What we're not going to do is continue a practice of giving all the money to the insurance company and having your premiums double. We're going to find a way to deal them out and deal you in. You get better outcomes and will lower health care prices. That starts in December. Now, here's what I hope. I hope we can find 60 votes to change the Obamacare subsidies more like I just described. And I think there's some Democrats that are willing to think outside the box.
In a bit of a pivot, and not quite South Carolina-centric, but I want to know, I asked Graham about the USS Gerald Ford in the Caribbean as the U.S. military continues its buildup in the region while there's escalating rhetoric between President Donald Trump and Venezuela, and how this jives with an administration that said it was scaling back foreign intervention.
I just talked to the president about what he's doing. This is not a foreign war. It's protecting America from being poisoned by drugs emanating from Venezuela. Maduro is not a legitimate leader of Venezuela, in my opinion. He stole the election from the opposition. He's indicted in American court for being a drug trafficker. I'd like to see him go down. These boats emanating from Venezuela full of drugs, I'm glad they're blowing them up, but that's not enough for me. In our backyard, we have a drug caliphate. Between Colombia, Venezuela, and Cuba, these three countries are in the narco-terrorism business. Hezbollah has a relationship with Venezuela, a Mideast terrorist organization of long standing, and it's increased as Iran gets weaker. They're turning to the drug traffickers to get their money, Hezbollah. So I think the president under Article 2 has all the power. He needs his commander-in-chief to interdict these boats and actually to strike on land. I don't consider this a legitimate government, but this is not the first time a president has taken on somebody in our backyard. Noriega, the leader of Panama, was taken out by George Bush 41. He literally invaded the country, took Noriega and put him in an American jail and tried him in an American court because he's involved in drug trafficking, hurting our country. And this is exactly what's going on in Venezuela. I don't know if any troops will be used. I'm not so sure that's even necessary. But this show of force is beyond drug boats. I think the president has made a decision, I think rightly so, that Maduro's regime needs to come down. The lady who won the Nobel Peace Prize, the leader of the Venezuelan opposition, is cheering President Trump on. So, Mr. President, I have you back. Do what you need to stop these drugs from coming into the country.
But no troops on the ground.
I don't think that would be necessary, but I'll leave it up to him. We did it in Panama. The 82nd Airborne jumped in, took Panama down. Reagan did it in Grenada when they were building, the Cubans were building a big long runway in Grenada that had no good effect for us. So, yeah, he would not be the first person to use ground troops, but I don't think that's in the making right now. I do believe Maduro will go, that this show of force is designed to replace him, in my view, to get somebody in Venezuela that will represent the Venezuelan people and not drug traffickers, and make Venezuela a free country for the first time in a long time and make America safer. I'm hoping that's the end game. I'll let the president speak for himself. But this show of military force, I think, is going to have the intended effect.
Graham later touted securing funding for several projects and initiatives across the state following the passage of that legislation that reopened the federal government. Remember, he is the Budget Committee chairman, but he made these requests through the Appropriations Committee, which he also sits on. We want to talk about earmarks. These are some earmarks. This is the bacon coming home. We're talking about $4.5 million for equipment at the new Clemson University Veterinarian School, $534,000 for fire department equipment in TKK, $1.25 million to improve the fire station in Blythewood, $2 million to upgrade the fire station in Central, and $33 million for an aeromedical evacuation facility for the Air Force Reserve at Joint Base Charleston, as well as $8.25 million for recruit barracks design at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island. A lot of pork. Speaking of Graham, I know some of y'all are tired of hearing about him, but he was very active last week, and he's our senior senator of 23 years and ranking member on the Judiciary Committee. And this is the news I have for you folks. So sticking with Graham, he and Governor Henry McMaster were in Bluffton together last Thursday. At the Beaufort County Republican Party reception, where McMaster was given the Robert Smalls Leadership Award. Now, I drove down because A, it's rare for them to be together in such a small setting. B, I haven't been to Bluffton since early 2024, and I love touching all the state as much as possible. C, the Beaufort County delegation features 6 committee chairs, 4 of whom were in attendance, and I'm going to list them right now, including Senate LCI Chair Tom Davis, House Education and Public Works Chair Shannon Erickson, House Judiciary Chair Weston Newton, and House LCI Chair Bill Herb Kurzman. Names you heard and names that you'll be hearing next year, too. Senate Fish, Game, and Forestry Chair Chip Campson and House Regulations Chair Jeff Bradley were not in attendance. Okay, and continue with my list. Number D, 4D. We are entering the final year of the McMaster term. And E, I have an E here, 5E. It was newsy. And it turns out I was the only news person there besides some reporter from WSAV who left after a brief press gaggle. So, it's just kind of important. Now, if Graham makes it through the June primary, as he is expected to do so, and if he is reelected next November, as he's expected to be in a solidly Republican state, I asked him what he would like to see in McMaster's successor, someone that he would have to work closely with. Now, Graham did not name any of the 5 Republicans running for the nomination by name, but, well, you can maybe deduce what you want from his response. Listen closely here. I'm going to give you an assignment. Listen closely and maybe wonder who he could be talking about here.
People that can bring folks to our state with a smile on their face. If you shake Henry's hand, that's all you need. South Carolina is seen as the most business-friendly place on the planet. We're good stewards of the God's creation without being crazy about it. But Henry has been able to project confidence, calm, reassurance, good policy from one corner of the globe to the other. When you meet our governor, you're more inclined to open up your business here. I just want more of what Henry McMaster has done.
McMaster said he wants Graham to break his predecessor, Senator Strom Thurmond's record of serving as senator for 47 years. Graham, who is seeking a 5th 6-year term and is 70, said he is genetically term limited. Literally, he said that. Thurmond was the 4th longest serving senator in history. But I mean, he's 70, 6 more terms, the way these folks are doing it. Moving on, in a little 1st Congressional District campaign trail update. I was in the 1st Congressional District, so this works out. I love to touch the district. Man of the people, man of the state. We have a small update here for you as this race continues to grow. Beaufort County Councilman Logan Cunningham has announced his candidacy for the congressional seat in a very crowded Republican field. That field includes State Representative Mark Smith, Dorchester County Councilman Jay Byers, Air Force vet Alex Pelbeth, and former Dr. Sam McCowan. FEC records show a Jack Ellison and Dan Brown also in that field, and Bowdopedia also lists Bluffton resident Tyler Dykes as running too. The Post-Courier notes that Dykes pleaded guilty to charges stemming from the January 6, 2021 storming of the U.S. Capitol. He was sentenced to 57 months in prison, but was subsequently pardoned by President Donald Trump. So that's 8 folks so far, 8 Republicans running for that nomination in NSCO 1, which is a Republican-leaning district. Now, the candidates are again running for the Republican nomination to replace Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who is running for governor in a district that Mace won by 16 points as a Republican in 2024. The Democrats also include Mac Defford, Myra Rivera-Vasquez, Robert Beers, Max Diaz, and Matthew Fulmer. 5 Democrats and 8 Republicans so far. Everyone's trying to get the nomination so then they can square off next November. But some background. The first district was redrawn following the 2020 census to make it a more solid Republican district, following the narrow election of Democrat Joe Cunningham in 2018 by 1.4 points over Republican State Representative Katie Arrington. That was the first time a Democrat won that district in like 40 years. Mace defeated Cunningham in 2020 by 1.3 points, and then Democrat Dr. Andy Andrews by 13 points in the following election under that new district map. Very purplish almost district to solid Republican. That map was challenged and overturned in lower court, but it was upheld in a 6-3 U.S. Supreme Court decision in May 2024. The High Court reversed a circuit court's ruling that the district was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, stating that the lower court had applied the wrong legal standard and that federal courts should not find liability for racial gerrymandering in situations where race and partisan preference are highly related. Next up, some light economic news for you. Scout Motors, the emerging automotive manufacturer revitalizing an iconic American brand, has selected Charlotte, North Carolina, as the home of its corporate headquarters. This investment, according to the company, will bring more than 1,200 high-quality jobs to the Charlotte region over the coming years. And not everyone's happy about that. The company, which will manufacture the Traveler SUVs and Terra trucks at its Blythewood plant here in South Carolina in 2027. And it said that the decision to locate its corporate headquarters to Charlotte follows a comprehensive, multi-state evaluation process as Scout Motors sought the right location to serve as the long-term center of gravity for the company's corporate operations. Charlotte stood out for its combination of workforce strength, business climate, livability, strategic location, and the alignment with the Scout brand's adventurous spirit. I'm reading from a press release here, guys, just to give you all the details. Now, the company said once it reaches its full capacity, the Blythewood Production Center, which is just over an hour's drive south on I-77 from Charlotte, is expected to create more than 4,000 jobs in South Carolina and also attract additional suppliers and economic opportunities to the region. So 2 Carolinas, 1 Carolina. You know, guys, it's that joining. We share the Panthers. We can share Scout. Now, just a little bit more detail, the Charlotte headquarters will serve as the home base for executive leadership, research and development, finance, IT, sales, marketing, and other key corporate functions. Scout Motors will begin establishing its Charlotte presence gradually with plans for initial staffing and office development beginning in 2026 and full headquarters operations scaling up in the coming years. So, Jamie Lovegrove, let us know. Of course, like we're saying, not everyone's happy about that, including Republican 5th District Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Ralph Norman, whose district borders North Carolina near Charlotte. And he slammed that decision by Scout by saying, quote, South Carolina spent $1.3 billion on a company who opened their corporate headquarters in North Carolina instead of here. Not only is Columbia corrupt, but it's run by people who have never made a successful business deal in their life. And the taxpayers are left with the bill and excuses about why we can't eliminate the income tax. Crony capitalism has to end. And when I'm governor, it will, quote. And that was Ralph Norman there slamming that decision. 2026 watch.
2026 watch.
It's all tied in. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here along with A.T. Shire, lead podcast producer.
Hello, folks. Yes, I'm here, which means I survived the weekend.
Which means who's running hell?
Yeah, I'm not.
It's episode 666.
Oh
Okay?
my God, yeah.
Gavin,
I'm allowed
watch
to
out.
say the H double hockey sticks.
Watch out, okay?
Easy.
We avoided the worst of the norovirus stomach bug in
so
the
again,
family.
just a false alarm. Everyone's safe.
It wasn't a full false alarm.
There was terror,
There was some terror, but
intestinal terror.
yeah, a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as we thought.
That's good. That's good.
Caitlin and I never got sick. LB, our little baby Rena, got a little bit sick.
Save
but
it for
wasn't so bad.
for the really dark, cold throes of December or
Yeah,
January
that's
when you really get sick. You're just like completely miserable.
When in those dark, cold throws, that's when I want to be throwing up. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway, Gavin, we got a call. Are you ready?
Yeah, looked up beep boop boop.
Yep. Okay.
Pop.
Dial that up for me
Pop.
real quick. Gavin actually controls all the calls. Call that up for me, Gavin, and play it whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is David from Columbia, and I was just calling while I listened to the music from the new Finley Park. I'm in Forest Acres, and I can hear it all the way over here, so it must be a big jamming concert. I've been listening to you guys for a while, and it's a great show. The Eagles,
Yes.
yeah, I think they still got a chance.
Go Eagles.
They're doing pretty good. I know your producer likes the Birds.
Good morning. Go Birds.
What I'm really calling about is when the legislators get back in any form or fashion, the federal government is transferring all kinds of payments that we're going to have to take care of. States are going to have to take care of. North Carolina's facing this withholding, and I would love for you to inquire and put it on the lead. That's LEDE, if people hadn't picked up on that yet. But I would love to know what their response is on how they're going to, do budgets for next year, because, we're going to have to pick up more Medicare, Medicaid, FEMA, all kinds of stuff. And I would love for you to inquire about that. Keep doing the good work. Talk to you soon. Bye.
David, thank you for calling. We appreciate your call, and then also helping reinforce the spelling LEDE. Thank you.
That's Gavin's burden right there. Thanks for helping.
I carry it willingly.
He named this thing. Well, his dad named it.
Well, yeah. And when you're talking about FEMA match, I'm wondering, I'll have to look into it a little bit further, but I'm thinking that maybe we're talking about matching funds for the federal, there's that 75-25% federal state match. So I'll look into that further, because I know there's money. Like I know DOT, for example, is requesting tens of millions of dollars for their FEMA match too. Like what they have to do in order to get those federal funds, you need to match them with some state funds too. So that's always a bit of the give and take when it comes to natural disasters. So luckily we didn't have to deal with that this year per se. We'll look into that, especially as budget season rolls around in the legislature.
Nothing sexier than
Oh, yeah.
budget season,
Yeah.
folks.
Oh my God, Maayan Schechter, she actually lives for it. I think.
Some absolute sickos out there.
It's like the Grinch. Her heart grew like really
boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Breaks the
Oh
machine.
man. We can talk about football because I was watching football with my father on
sure.
Sunday.
Yeah.
The holiday commercials are so bad.
Yes.
The Jeep one, I don't know if you guys saw that Jeep commercial, but it's like the 12 Days of Christmas, and that song is already insufferable. They made it somehow worse.
I do think that our biggest thing, and I think what you're saying without saying it, Gavin,
I'm saying it.
is that, I'm saying it, brother.
Yeah.
Is that they ChatGPT'd all this stuff.
Sure.
And it is unpleasant because there is an uncanny valley. We all know the uncanny valley when you look at like the Tom Hanks Polar Express eyes. Those are dead as soon as you see them, right? So we're talking about the lyrics and the way you connect through language. Version of that.
Yeah. Apply that to that. Yeah.
Where you're just like, a human didn't write that. Something with no soul did. Yeah. And I think AI is bad.
And then also like the FanDuel commercial was also stressful to me too, because it really just showed the gambling at its most core, where everyone's just glued to their phones hoping that there's a little indicator light that means good, bad, money, no money.
The big screen is just it's just like an auxiliary screen to small bet screen.
With like, is it going to turn green or red? Does that mean I have food money or no money?
I do.
I don't like this.
I think that you're just hitting on two huge problems that we're going to have to face as a society in the next 20 years, which is the use of AI rotting away our brains and widespread gambling
Yeah.
addiction problems.
And I know, and I'm not weighing in the gambling debate and how that might be a thing in South Carolina. Like, I'll cover that objectively. Don't read the tea leaves here. As Gavin's gonna be anti-gambling.
You're
Gavin-
anti-ad.
Gavin likes to throw some dice. Okay, don't get me wrong here. I like
You
to
gotta see
actually
this guy.
gamble.
You got to see this guy. You got to see this guy.
But the problem
I'm
is-
actually the luckiest dice roller that you've ever seen.
I'm actually not that good of a dice roller.
I'm great at it.
But I'm good at helping cultivate a vibe at a craps table. That's on my resume.
You're talking about a communal thing with people here, okay?
And a little bit of a touch of holiday cheer. Let's just say that.
A lot of nog throwing back.
Oh, Santa needs a new pair of shoes, baby.
He doesn't want those cookies. Give me that nog.
Oh God, the holiday season's here. We're laughing, we're signing, then driving.
Oh, then driving.
Then
correct.
you have to sign, then drive.
Then.
Okay, guys,
Yeah,
make
they're-
sure you stipulate that.
They're not giving it away for free.
I don't
then.
think Subaru has now that I'm a Subaru owner.
I think there is.
there has to be holiday sales.
Yeah.
Event.
I believe it's a share the love event.
Yeah, is that the share the love?
Yes, which can be
Which is
year round.
good.
Yeah, it's
Well,
year
that's
round.
the thing about as I'm a Subaru person
you
now.
speak for all Subaru owners.
Thank you.
Yes.
As I'm touching the state, I'm sharing the love.
You're such an altruist, you
Thank
know?
you.
Like you live.
Thank you.
He's becoming an altruist. He's becoming an outdoorsman, okay? Yep.
I get into
Muir,
nature.
is that Muir? M-U-I-R? I don't know how to say that, but he's a tree guy, right? Yeah.
birding.
Birds, go birds. I'm fine with that. Yeah. Yeah. Eagle's a bird.
It is the bird.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tragically, it's associated with such a wonderful city.
Yeah. Well, Philly is awesome.
It is, but maybe I didn't mean like that. Maybe I'm thinking of like just the,
Yeah.
the fans.
You all know. You all know. It's true.
The batteries in Santa, which I know the
Long
old
time
stick.
ago. And it was snowballs. Batteries are now. Batteries are at Dallas fans now.
Oh, that will go. The originality of a Dallas fan might as well be.
Yeah, they're the lamest.
Oh gosh, well, we're gonna get calls now. Do not throw batteries.
If you're a
Again,
Dallas fan,
I'm trying to be altruistic.
from Texas, you can like
Sure.
Dallas. If you're a Dallas fan from South Carolina or New Jersey or New York, how are the Lakers doing this year? You know what I mean? You losers. Anyway, Gavin, share the love.
Yes.
Honestly, we've shared too much love here.
Oh.
So much love that the show has to end.
Oh, dear.
I'm
Yes.
getting the wind-up sign from Alfred.
666.
666 in the books, folks. You never have to do it again, okay?
Thank you for helping us get there. And David, thank you for calling. Be like David, give us a shout at 803-563-7169. We love hearing from you guys. And you can always stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
Episode 666.
Oh, I was going to tell you we have to skip a 666 one.
Can't.
It's like the 13th floor.
It is. Yeah. Scary.
Oh,